Insolvency of a partner. According to Section 42D of the Indian Partnership Act 1932, subject to contract between the partner, the partnership firm is dissolved by the adjudication of a partner as an insolvent. Section 42D of the Indian Partnership Act 1932 deals with the insolvency of a partner. A partnership becomes dissolved. A partnership has to be dissolved if all the partners becomes insolvent or all except one are insolvent. Who is called insolvent? If the partner's liabilities are more than that of his asset, he is said to be declared as insolvent. So A is a partner. His assets value is 10 lakh rupees, but his liability is 15 lakhs. In that case, he is considered as an insolvent because his asset worth is less than that of his liabilities. Okay, he is not able to pay his debt balance. Okay, balance 5 lakhs. 5 lakhs is the deficit. So he is considered as an insolvent. Insolvent partner may not be in a position to pay his debit balance of capital account, whether fully or partly. Debit balance of the capital account is a debt of the partners to the firm, deficit balance. Okay, he is not in a position to pay his debit balance of capital account, whether fully or partly. He is considered as an insolvent. The amount irrecoverable from an insolvent partner is a loss to the firm. Insolvent partner loss or deficiency has to be borne by the solvent partner. The amount which is irrecoverable from an insolvent partner, he is insolvent, he doesn't have money to pay off his debts. So in that case, it is a loss for the firm. If he has to give 10,000 rupees, but he may not be able to pay or settle the firm, this debts to the firm, this 10,000 rupees is loss for the firm. So the insolvent partner loss or deficiency has to be borne by the solvent partner. The solvent partner has to bear the insolvent partner loss or deficiency. So the 10,000 should be shared between the insolvent partner. There are three partners, supposing A, B, C. If partner C is insolvent, then his deficit balance is 10,000 rupees to the firm. A and B should share the 10,000 rupees. That is the rule. Okay. Before 1904, the deficiency of an insolvent partner was borne by the solvent partner in their profit sharing ratio. So before 1904, before in the year 1904, the deficiency of an insolvent partner, the deficiency 10,000 rupees of partner C is shared between the X and Y in the ratio of profit sharing ratio may be 1:1. Okay. If the profit sharing ratio is 1:1, they have to bear the deficiency of C rupees 5,000 and 5,000. Okay. This is the scenario before 1904. Okay. But in the year 1904, Gardner versus Murray was implemented. This is a rule. The rule of Gardner versus Murray is applicable in case of insolvency of one or more partners, but not all the partners. This rule is applicable. This Gardner versus Murray is applicable in the case of insolvency or one or more partners, but not all the partners. That means there may be 4 partners in the firm, A, B, C, D. If 2 partners becomes insolvent, these rules can be applicable. If 3 partners becomes insolvent, in that case also may be possible to apply this case. If all the partners become insolvent, then it is not possible to apply this Gardner versus Murray rule. That is mentioned here. It is applicable in the case of insolvency or one or more partners, but not all the partners. If all the partners becomes insolvent, we cannot use this Gardner versus Murray rule. Let's see what is Gardner versus Murray rule. All the solvent partners should bring cash equal to their share of the loss of realization. Loss on realization has to be transferred to partner's capital account. Okay. So we have to debit the partner's capital account. Equal, they should bring cash. Equal, who should bring? All the solvent partners should bring cash equal to their share of loss on realization. If the share of loss of realization on A and B is 5,000 rupees and 5,000 rupees, then A and B should bring cash to the extent of 5,000 and 5,000. This is the first rule. Second rule, the deficiency of the insolvent partner must be borne by the solvent partner in the ratio of their capital standing in the balance sheet on the date of the dissolution of the firm. This is called then capital. Okay. That means on the date of dissolution, what is the position of the capital? Okay. So we should not include realization profit or realization loss. Okay. Before realization, before adding or deducting the realization profit or loss, what is their capital? That should be considered while calculating the capital ratio. Okay. Because they are going to bear the deficiency of the insolvent partners in the ratio of the then capital ratio. Okay. So 10,000 rupees, A's capital, B's capital same, that is 5,000 rupees. Then reserve fund 2,000, here is 1,000 rupees. Realization profit is 5,000 rupees. 2,500, 2,500. This 2,500 we should not consider. We should consider only these two. Before, on the date of dissolution of the firm, what is their capital position? On the date of dissolution of the firm, opening capital is 10,000, 2,000 is reserve, B's capital is 5,000, 1,000 is their reserve. So the ratio is 12,000 is to 6,000, that is 2:1. In this way, we have to calculate the capital ratio. Partners should not bear the loss or deficiency of the insolvent partner in their profit sharing ratio. They should bear the insolvent partner deficiency in their capital ratio. Then the capital ratio will depend on whether the capital account are maintained under fixed or fluctuating method. There are two methods already in the fundamental concept we have seen. Fixed capital method and fluctuating capital method. Which method they are following? So the capital ratio will depend upon whether the capital accounts are maintained under fixed capital method or fluctuating capital method. We have to see which type of capital method that firm is following. Okay, according to that, the capital ratio will be changed. Next is capital ratio calculation. The capital ratio of the partners will depend on whether capital accounts are maintained under fixed or fluctuating method. Capital ratio under fixed capital method. If the capital account of the partners are fixed throughout the existence of the partnership, the original capital of the solvent partner will be used as a basis for the division of insolvent partner deficiency. I hope you all know how to prepare the capital account and the current account in the case of fixed capital method. Okay, the firm has to follow two accounts, has to open two accounts. One is fixed capital account, another one is current account. Okay, interest on capital, interest on drawing, salary, commission, everything should be transferred to current account. The capital account is fixed and static, and so that is called fixed capital method. So the original capital, if the firm follows the fixed capital method, then the original capital of the solvent partner will be used as basis for the division of insolvent partner's deficiency. accounting procedure under fixed capital method. As the capitals are fixed, the accumulated profits, reserve fund, general reserve, P&L account credit balance, interest on capital and salary, etc. must be credited to partner's current account. And in the case of debit balance of P&L account, drawings and interest on drawing must be debited to partner's current account. So, if they follow fixed capital method, reserve fund, general reserve, P&L account credit balance, interest on capital, salary. These are all the income of the partners, and so this must be credited to the partner's current account. And in the case of debit balance of P&L account, drawings, interest on drawings, these are all expenses to the partners, and so it must be debited to partner's current account. This is the first step, okay, in the accounting procedure under the fixed capital method. Second step, the loss of realization pertaining to each partner should be transferred to his current account. Loss of realization, that should also be transferred to the current account of the partners. Each solvent partner would then be assumed to have brought in cash his respective share of loss on realization, which would be debited to bank and credited to his current account. Then according to Garner versus Murray rule, the solvent partner should bring cash equivalent to the share of the realization loss. Okay, so he has to bring, and that should be debited to bank account and credited to his current account, not capital account. Then the fourth step is the insolvent partner's current account balance should be transferred to his capital account in order to ascertain his deficiency. The fourth step is the insolvent partner's current account balance should be transferred to the solvent partner, to the particular insolvent partner current account in order to ascertain his deficiency. Suppose C is an insolvent. His current account balance should be transferred to C's capital account in order to calculate his deficiency. The deficiency of the insolvent partner should also be transferred to the current accounts of the solvent partner in proportion to their agreed fixed capital. Then we have to transfer the deficiency. Here we have ascertained the deficiency. This deficiency should be transferred to current account of the solvent partner. First, we have to close the insolvent partner current account, and we have to transfer the amount to insolvent partner capital account. Then the deficiency of the insolvent partner's current account should be transferred to the current account of the solvent partner in proportion to their agreed fixed capital. Then the solvent partner current account should now be closed by transfer to their respective capital account. The bank balance left would be distributed between the solvent partner as per the final credit balances shown by their respective capital account. Then we have to the solvent partner, we have to close the solvent partner current account, and that balance should be transferred to respective capital account. Bank balance would be distributed between the solvent partners as per the final credit balance shown by their respective capital account. These are all the accounting procedures we have to follow when the firm uses the fixed capital method. Application of Garner versus Murray rule in India. In India, if it is mentioned in the partnership deed that on the insolvency of a partner, deficiency of his capital account will be burned in a particular ratio. It will be burned according in the case of insolvency of a partner. In the absence of any specific provision in the Indian Partnership Act 1932, if a partner becomes insolvent or otherwise incapable of paying his share of the contribution, the solvent partner must share ratably the available assets. That is, the available assets will be distributed in proportion to their capitals. The provisions of the Indian Partnership Act in this respect are thus similar to the rules laid down by the decision in Garner versus Murray. Therefore, Garner versus Murray decision may safely be applied in India. In India, they apply Garner versus Murray decision because they considered it as a safe one. Now let's see what are the accounting treatments, or what is the accounting treatment we have to follow when all the partners becomes insolvent. When all the partners become insolvent, the loss on account of insolvency of all the partners will have to be borne by the creditors. In this case only, sundry assets are transferred to realization account. The assets realized is credited to realization account. The amount of external liability, creditors, bills payable, bank OD, etc. are not transferred to realization account, but their separate account may be prepared. In this case, while we prepare the realization account, we transfer only the sundry assets and the assets realized. Okay, sundry assets is debited, assets realized is credited. The amount of external liabilities like creditors, bills payable and bank OD are not be transferred to realization account, but we have to open separate account. Okay, we have to open separate account for creditors, separate account for bills payable and separate account for bank OD. It should not be transferred to the realization account. We have to transfer only the sundry assets and the assets realization and the expenses. Creditors are paid all cash available together with the amount received from the private assets of the partners if after meeting the expenses on realization. The realization account will be prepared in the usual way, but the payment of outside liabilities will not be paid, and the profit and loss of realization is transferred to capital account of the partners in their P&L ratio. Okay, not the capital ratio, in the P&L ratio. So, the firm uses the available cash balance to settle the creditors. Okay, any balance remaining unpaid to the creditors will be transferred to deficiency account. See, any balance, if the firm is not able to fully settle the creditors, the unpaid balance will be transferred to deficiency account. Similarly, the amount not paid by the partners will also be transferred to the deficiency account. The deficiency account shall be automatically closed and the books will also be closed. Okay, these are all the accounting treatment for the insolvency of the partners. If one or more partners are insolvent, we can apply Garner versus Murray rule. Under the Garner versus Murray rule, the solvent partner should bring the cash equivalent to their realization loss, and then they have to share the deficiency of an insolvent partner in their then capital ratio. These are all the two rules. If the firm follows Garner versus Murray rule. If all the partners are insolvent, we cannot apply Garner versus Murray rule. In that case, we have to open deficiency account. All the unpaid amount should be transferred, and then first, as usual, we have to open realization account. We have to transfer the assets, and assets realized, the firm meets the expenses, but outside liabilities we have to open separate account, and for the creditors and all, the firm uses its cash balances, and then if there is any deficiency in the creditors account, if there is any the firm is not able to pay fully the creditors, the unpaid balance is transferred to the deficiency account. Like that, the amount not by the partners will also be transferred to the deficiency account. Automatically, the deficiency account will be closed, and all the books also will be closed. Okay, I hope you all understand the concept.